Hello, my name is Anakaya and this channel is called Messengers of Light because that really depicts my mission, my sole purpose and what I'm here to do on this planet. I started out with my spiritual journey many years ago. I eventually became a trance channel and was channeling and working with mainly Pleiadian energies and other cosmic beings. And over time I have developed that further to include angelic beings, spirit guides, and other enlightened beings who come to this world and this dimension to help us on our spiritual journeys. And I have worked in the public scene, doing public meetings, personal readings over many years, and I'm also an energy healer and have worked with healing over the years also. There's a lot of labels these days for what people are and what people may be representing. I will use some of those labels here because that's the way that society has come to understand these different expressions of our spirits. But I myself don't really like labels. I don't like being in a box, and I am firmly of the belief that none of us should have to be in any kind of box and just to be uniquely ourselves. And the reason why I'm doing these videos is because my guides, my teachers, and my own spirit, my own higher self has prompted me, and not just prompted, but actually really pushed, especially over the last few months, for me to create these videos, which is a very different platform to what I've ever used before. So it's definitely a new experience for me as well. My aim, my goal with this type of work is that I would like to share some knowledge and truths with whoever watches these videos that may help you in your own spiritual growth and your own personal journey, and also with basically living on earth at this time of great change and transformation. I am what might be called a first wave starseed. So I'm one of the earlier ones that incarnated here to lay the foundations for this time and this transformational phase that the planet is going through right now. And I worked initially with acting as a go-between, a communicator between non-terrestrial beings, cosmic beings, Pleiadians and others, and people here. And I acted as a translator and a communicator in that sense. And I used the method that is known as channeling because that was the best method to communicate in that way at that time. And there are still many who use those methods today. I myself no longer channel in that way. I have gone through many changes and transformations myself in my own growth that has allowed me to tap into knowledge and information freely as just a natural part of my expression. So in other words, things channel through us all the time, and it is just a matter of becoming more consciously aware of what kind of energies we are attracting to ourselves, bringing into our energy field, and how we will work with that energy. And so there are many labels, as I said, for people on this earth who work with energy, who work with healing, who work with their spiritual gifts to help others. Mainly the most common one is a light worker, which just refers to somebody that is positive, caring, empathetic, who has various gifts, maybe the gift of healing, channeling energy, empathy. They can pick up the thoughts and feelings of others. They might be telepathic, they might be psychic, clairvoyant, and all those kind of things. But what I'm here to say first and foremost is all of those states of being, all of those modes of of working and helping others and helping the planet are all keyed into what is actually our natural abilities, the abilities that we were born with, the abilities that we've brought with us into this lifetime from other lifetimes. And really we are only limited by our own beliefs, our fears, our attitudes. And our biggest blocks, of course, relates to fear. There are, in my mind, only two real energies or expressions in the universe, in the cosmos. There's just two. There is fear and there is love. And the reason why we have these two dual aspects is because we are experiencing a dual universe. There are other universes other than this one. This is just one of many. This universe is known as a duality universe. It is one where there are two specific expressions of reality. And it goes right through to the way we express here on Earth through our bodies. But it's bigger than that as well. There's a lot of talk at the moment about a kind of spiritual war that is going on between the power of light and the power of darkness. I don't see it as a war at all. I see it as a process of balancing what has been a very separate, segregated expression of energy and self. And what I see happening is we are learning to not only accept that these expressions exist within us, but also that they are playing out in our outer reality as well. Part of the earlier expressions of spiritual awakening, like back in the late 80s, early 90s, very much involves segregating everything into categories, light and dark, good and bad, positive, negative, and so forth. And there was a general sort of belief system that it was necessary to acknowledge that we had darkness within ourselves, or darker expressions of being, but not to express them at all, and in fact to sweep them under the carpet and act as though they didn't exist. Seemed to be the idea back then. And I think that belief still holds sway today. It's still happening, particularly in what you might call the New Age sector or the New Age scene, where a lot of people who are awakened or awakening are drawn to. And what I have discovered in my own growth is that not only do you have to acknowledge that you have these dual aspects within you, but you also have to accept it and learn to work with it. And when I say work with it, I mean to transmute the energy that you do not wish to express. Because energy is neutral in nature. It is neither positive nor negative. It is neither good nor bad. It is neutral. Energy is something that is the cornerstone, the foundation of existence. Everything is energy, vibrating at a particular frequency. Right through to our bodies, the reality we experience, our world, the planet, everything. Everything within that and on that is all made up of energy. And that's the first step to understanding what we are, what the nature of us really is. Everything in the universe is energy, vibrating at a certain frequency. So how do we actually work with that? What part do we have to play within that framework? What is reality? Well, first off, you've got to get your head around the fact that there isn't just one reality. There are multiple realities, multiple dimensions, and multiple universes. Each reality has a certain set of what you might call lessons, experiences that come with that particular reality. It's a signature of that reality, because that's the energy, that's the expression of that energy and how that energy vibrates in that particular reality. So all of us here on Earth at this time have chosen to incarnate into a world where duality is very prevalent. where we get to experience what you might call limitation. We are here to become masters of limitation, and that involves self-mastery. So self-mastery means that we are learning about everything that we are, what we really are, not what we thought we were, not what society teaches us we are, not what we learn about ourselves through school or any societal structures at all. It has nothing to do with politics, it has nothing to do with religion, it has nothing to do with any of those expressions. It has to do with what kind of energy we are and how we choose to express that energy in the world. We have, of course, what is called free will. Free will allows us to make conscious choices, informed choices, about how we want to be, how we want to express, what we want to do, and what we wish to attract to ourselves in our lives. And there are certain things we do, sometimes without realizing it, that causes us to attract things into our lives, into our reality, that can really be very, very difficult, very painful, and very hard to work through or even accept sometimes. So the fundamental truth that I'm going to mention behind all of what I'm talking about now is that we create our own reality. We have been gifted with a very, very powerful ability to create. We're very, very creative. And you might say that that's connected to the part of us that is also God, the universe, all that is, whatever you want to call that concept, creator, great spirit, whatever you want to call it. That part of us that is divine in nature, that many call the higher self, or the higher mind, if you like. It's the part of us that is that spark of divine light. It's the soul, it's the spirit, the part that animates everything, our bodies. It operates our minds. It creates an energy field around our bodies known as the aura. It's that part of us that also exists beyond the body. We sit within our bodies so that we can animate them and communicate through them and use our mind to think and reason and learn. We can experience through the senses that we have, but we are much, much more than that as well. The light that we are goes way beyond even the auric field or the energy field that is directly around our bodies. Our energy, in truth, expands beyond our bodies, something like 20 to 30 feet, possibly more with some people, up and above and around our bodies. I'm being told it's also about 3 meters, if you think of things in meters. So it expands out at least 3 meters around our bodies, upwards, downwards, and outwards. So as we walk through the world, expressing ourselves in the way that we choose to do that, our energy is making contact with the energy fields of every other person on the planet, every other person that we come across, every other person that we interact with, the animals, the elements, the ground, the sky, everything. The part of our energy field that exists above our heads, above our crown chakra, is the part that contacts what you'd call the higher self. It's the part of us that exists way beyond what is the physical form. It cannot be contained to our physical forms because the vibration is very high in nature. The frequency is high enough that it cannot be contained in what we would call the three-dimensional reality, which is the physical realm. Therefore, it stays expanded beyond us. Within our bodies, as you probably know, we have 7 chakras. which are 7 portals, energy portals, that exist in our energy field, that also interconnect with various parts of our bodies and different organs and different processes within our bodies. When there is a blockage in any one of these energy centers, it creates sickness, illness, disease, discord. That is in the extreme. That is what will happen if the blockage remains in any of those energy any of those energy centers for any length of time. So, part of our responsibilities when we are here in our bodies is what I call housekeeping. We have a responsibility to take care of the body that we sit within. It's our temple. It really is our temple. And we have to ensure that it's kept healthy and as harmonious as possible and as mobile as possible, so that we can continue to utilize it to learn and grow and interact in this world and in this reality. There is also another big responsibility that we have, and that is we are responsible for what we think. We are responsible for our thoughts, and we're responsible for our actions. And in this time on this world, as we move through this very chaotic period in time and in our history, because it will be a very relevant history at some point, where people look back on this time and see where we came from and how far we went in our growth and our reality, in our development. And it will be extraordinary, because none of this has ever been mapped or been able to be predicted accurately ever before, because this is uncharted territory. Where we are going right now as a collective consciousness, as individuals on our spiritual journey, as a planet, as a species, as a part of our solar system, as a part of the universe. This has never been done before, not on this world, and not in any reality that's connected to this world. This is a very, very pivotal time in our history as a human race, a human species. Very pivotal. It can be said that it's one of the most important times ever that we have ever experienced and ever will experience. Right now, we are determining as a collective what our future will be. Right now, every choice we make, every action we take, every time we express our energy in this reality in a particular way, we are influencing, shaping and forming not just our present, but our future. Our thoughts are very powerful, because that is how we create in our reality. We have a desire for something first. We have a vision. We have a feeling about something. That comes first. That's step one. Then we start thinking about that thing. We start visualizing ourselves doing it, being it. We start visualizing the details involved. Where does it take place? How does it take place? How can we make it happen? What steps can we take in our world and our reality now to make that take place? And so we start the creative energy projecting outwards from our thoughts. And the nature of reality is that the universe will shift and move to manifest what it is that we are creating. That's it in a nutshell, really. That's the bigger picture. That's what we do all the time, whether consciously or unconsciously. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's necessary to understand how all of this works. Because what I am teaching and what I will be teaching is how to manipulate energy, how to create, how to manifest, how to become masters of creation. So that is my goal, that's my mission. In conjunction with that, I'm also learning myself. I'm moving through these phases of energy and growth just like everybody else. But I wish to share what I have learned and what I know with others, and also to channel information that will help others on their growth and in their journey. I work with truth. I'm never going to tell people or tell anyone what they want to hear. I am going to tell people what they need to hear. And that is it. It is as simple as that. I'm not here to stroke egos. I'm not here to categorize people. I'm not here to label people. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to be judged. I'm here to simply share who I am, and what I know. And I'm one of many who are doing this and who will be doing this. And it is my dream that one day, very soon, we will be able to all network on this planet and work together to lift the consciousness even further. There are a lot of different factions that didn't want me to do this work. Several times in my time here on this earth, I have almost left the planet. I have had attempts to make me leave the planet. And all of that has failed and will continue to do so. Because I'm not leaving this planet until I have completed what I came here to do. Our beliefs are very powerful. At this time, our beliefs and our perception is being manipulated in a very negative way to cause many of us to see our reality as something dark, something chaotic, something that we have no control over. And you know what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the projections about World War III. Now, I can say that this was talked about many decades ago, right back to when nuclear power became a thing. There was more developments in this area. There was more weaponry being created. There were more countries accumulating these weapons. And there were more nuclear power plants and so forth. All of these developments put us onto a certain path, a certain track, and it caused this reality that we're in now. It may look like all of these things are on a downward slope to an inevitable end, but that would be wrong. And I'm also going to say that to think that way and believe that way is very dangerous because, as I said before, our beliefs are very powerful. What we think is very powerful. What we project with our thoughts is very powerful. So we need to become very conscious and very aware of what we're thinking and how we're thinking it, because that is what we have responsibility for. We don't have any responsibility for what happens in the outer world. We have no control over that. We cannot control what is happening in the outer reality in the broader sense. But what we can control, and we do have power over, absolutely, is what we do and what we think and how we conduct ourselves. I've always said that it's not the event that's the important thing. It's how we respond to it. Because again, how we respond to something, how we work with it or we don't, as the case may be, is what determines what comes next. And here we are being told we're on the brink of war, that the world is ending, the sky is falling, everything is going wrong. But is it? There are cycles ending, yes, most definitely. As our ancestors knew, as the ancient wise ones knew many thousands of years ago, that these things would happen. This was predicted. Those that had the ability to jump timelines, that had the ability to perceive different timelines, knew that these things were going to happen. couldn't see what we were going to do with it because that was undetermined, but they could certainly see the path, the journey that we would take and the nature of it. This is not the first time that these kind of things have happened. This is not the first time that cycles have ended and new ones have begun, because that's a natural process that has gone on for millennia. We do this as individuals. We end our cycles all the time and begin new ones, the most obvious one being life and death. But we do this through our growth all the time, shedding some old part of ourselves that no longer serves us, and then moving into a new aspect of ourselves or a new discovery, new strengths, new awareness, new methods of expression. We may tap into more creativity and express that, whereas before we did not. And I always think that life is like an anvil where the pieces of metal that are being shaped and formed and tempered by life. But it's not something that happens to us. It's something that we consciously choose to participate in, because we as souls, our higher self, if you will, is fully aware how to use the physical reality and our human expression to grow and become greater than we were before. Because, of course, the aim here is to reach our full potential. Can we do this when we're in physical bodies? Of course we can. And there are those that have done this. What we call the masters, the ascended masters, the teachers that have been on this world and have achieved these things, show the way, they're way showers. That's what they were supposed to do. And they did it very well. But they had no control over how that knowledge would be used. They couldn't. They're not responsible for that. What they came here for is to show all of us, what was possible. But it was never meant to be a series of belief systems, dogmas, that would cause us to fight, go to war, torture, and kill one another over. These belief systems were never meant to be what they became. It was simply meant to be an example to us, to show us what we were, who we are, and what we are really capable of. Do we have limits? Of course we do. We are masters of limitation. We've chosen to be in a world, in a reality where limitation is prevalent. We've chosen to be in a vibration that is very low, very slow, sluggish. It's very hard to manifest things in this reality because of that. And we have to constantly fight against that and fight against the things that block our path. Sometimes there is a need to fight. Sometimes there is a need to withdraw. So we learn through the course of our awakening process that there are times when we have furious activity and growth, and other times when we need to withdraw from the world for a while and just have silence and peace and be out in nature, use meditation and whatever it is that helps you to balance and realign yourself. So there has to be a balance in all of this, always. When we're out of balance, that's when we start to get stressed, we have health issues, and we start to have various dramas and things happening in our lives that really don't make us very comfortable. So it's really about becoming very conscious and aware of what you're thinking, how you're thinking, and what you're doing with that energy. How do you conduct yourself in your world? How do you show up in the world? The higher vibrations, the higher energy are love, compassion, kindness, caring, empathy, creativity, laughter. The more negative expressions, worry, fear, anger, jealousy, hatred. We're all familiar with all of these things. We've all expressed them. We've all experienced them. It's necessary so that we could understand what these energies are and what they mean, because they are part of this reality. They are expressions that are prevalent here. How does that shape our reality? Well, we are dual beings, so we're made up of the light and the dark. It's all within us. We choose what energy we want to use and how we want to express it. If we are feeling chaotic and warlike, we're fighting with ourselves and fighting with everything around us, then what kind of reality are we going to see? We're going to see a reality that is chaotic and warlike. But if we are peaceful within, if we accept ourselves, love ourselves, nurture ourselves, if we do things we enjoy and we follow our passion, what is that going to project in our reality? We have to make conscious decisions about what we want and what we don't want, first of all.